Hello everyone, Bradley Sward here, and today in this video, basically I'm going to take a trip down memory lane, at least for some of you who may be watching these videos. I'm going to take a look at the 2015 advent of code, the first puzzle that started them all over all these years so far. Day one, not quite Lisp, and I'm doing this with the R programming language, and I'm going to be starting up a class in the next couple of weeks. So I figured, why not learn just the bare bones minimum? I'm not even talking about all the statistics routines and all the things that I'm going to be learning about in the next semester, but I'm talking about basically just using the language in its bare bones capacity, just if statements, and just get used to like how to figure out elements of an array, or in some cases like characters out of a string, things like that. So for this problem, we have a data set, and my data set is humongous. I'll just show you the numbers. It's no big deal. Here is all of this. There's just so many parentheses and so little time. And it turns out you don't need a stack or a queue for any of this kind of stuff. They said it was a pretty simple problem, and it pretty much is. And so basically, as you go, if you see you want to see what floor somebody is on, this person, or just where does it say here? Whatever, Santa. Oh, I guess we're helping Santa with his directions, and he's getting confused. So we're helping Santa. We're directly helping Santa this time. So for every parenthesis you see that's on the open side, he should go up one floor. So basically just go up, and every time you see a closing brace, you see it go down. So it's just a matter of just how do I go up? Do I go down? There really is nothing to it other than just kind of going through and adding up and subtracting off as you go through every character in this very large string. So you can see my answer is 232. And again, I'm saying I'm using RStudio for this. I tried out whatever came with the R language, and I used that for a previous course that I took. But so far, for the limited bit I'm doing here, it gives me some color coding, and it gives me a little more of the bells and whistles that I'm used to in an IDE rather than what I was dealing with on the other side of that. Okay, so here is the problem, and you can see it looks very similar to things that you would be doing in languages, especially if this is new to you, and it isn't kind of new to me. So I say I'm bringing in the data. Here's that data file, and most times I erase the new line character or just whatever, but in this case I have it in here because it works better, and that's just the way R is. I know C++ would just completely throw up all over the place and just go sleep on the floor, but in this case, if I did this here, but in this case R needs that so I don't get any errors. So I just read it in, and it reads it in as one giant string. That's really all this is. It just reads everything in, because there's no header, there's no delimiter, there's nothing like that, nothing's going on. So it just reads everything all the way through one line, calls it a day, and it's called data. And so floor, and you just got to get used to if R is going to become your thing. I think you can use the equals, but they always say to use the arrow, basically the reverse of what you do in C++ when you're using pointers and dereferencing pointers and doing all those kind of things. The arrow operator. 0 is going into floor, so floor is equal to 0. And so, and basically all I'm doing is going through. And the for loops are a little different in R. So I go from 1 to the number of characters in this piece of data, which is, I forget how many, quite a few. Go through, and we're used to that incrementation. I starts from 1. And oh yes, and in our strings and arrays and all of these all the things in vectors and all the things we're going to be using, they start counting from 1. So that's, for some of you guys, for me too, that's going to take a little getting used to, because we start at 0 in every other language, but I'm just going to have to get used to the fact that we start counting from 1. So there we go. So it's from 1 to every character inside the data. And this is how you actually have to go through and say, get me like the first character or the second character, or the nth character or the ith character. You actually have to use the substring function. I think you can use substr, but I like substring personally so far because it's a little more verbose. It kind of tells me more of what's going on. So it says, of the data string, get me whatever's that I character. So get me character 1. And if it's an open parenthesis, then increment the floor. But if it's not, then decrement the floor. And you just go. I mean, you just do this for every character. And at the end of the day, you'll get your answer of 232. And let's see, I can drag this up and hit Control. There we go. So part 1 answer is 232. Just like I said, I already showed it on the other thing here. And so part 2 was just slightly different. Is that basically when does he hit floor -1? When does he end up in the basement? That doesn't necessarily mean you didn't do your job, because people probably have basement apartments and basement condos and those kind of things around the world. So if the floor, if you just do the same stuff for every character, go up. But if I go down, check to see if I'm in the negative. And if I'm in the negative, then basically print out where you are, basically how far into the instructions have you gone, and then break. Break gets me out of a for loop, just like many languages. And this language uses the keyword next instead of continue for whatever reason, just because it's a different language. Oh yeah, another thing here, paste is how you concatenate things together, at least as far as I can tell. It seemed to be pretty easy. So it takes a string, adds an integer value to it, and turns it into a string and concatenates the two together, and I get a nice little answer here. But that pretty much covers everything with this video. Let me just run this. There we go. There's my answer of 1783. So if you know a better way to do things in R, specifically R, I would like to hear that. I would love to hear your takes on these things. I'm learning as I go here, starting small, and I'll be able to work my way up into all the statistics routines in a matter of a week or two, I'm sure. So yep. So thanks for watching this video. Those of you who do, I hope to. I haven't looked ahead into all the other problems on the Advent of Code site, but I'm going to try a couple. I'm not going to hold myself to do every single one or that. I'm just going to do enough until I feel I'm good to go on the R front. Or if you want me to keep on going, or if you know a good one that you'd like me to try, I'd love to hear it. So thanks everybody. Thanks for sticking it out as always. Have a great day, and I'll see you in another video.